Nicholas Alexander Johnson.
Are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
I'm taking an opening, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, I think we have something that we need to talk about sooner rather than later.
Okay.
There's a decision that we need to make.
Sure.
Or, I guess it's not a decision, it's just something I have to convince you, I have to talk to you about. October 27th of this year is the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And I know we'll probably be doing our probably Nightmare on Elm Street by that time. So we can push it until after Halloween.
Sure.
But we gotta go see it in theaters.
Okay.
And give it as much money as possible by going to a movie theater instead of buying it and renting it at home.
Why? I'm ignorant. I'm not saying it in a shitty way. I literally know nothing about Five Nights at Freddy. Top down. I don't know anything about the game. I don't know anything about the movie. I don't know anything about any of it.
Five Nights at Freddy's is just Chuck E. Cheese spooky stuff. The Chuck E. Cheese where monsters, robots come alive at night. And it was just a spooky, basically Flash game that for some reason Roblox kids took to water, fish to water. So it's just a Roblox kids thing now, where it's fun to make fun of, and there's a lot of weird dumb lore. And it turns out the creator's a far right Trump supporting churchy guy.
Classic move.
Sucks. Classic move.
Just like Minecraft.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it got optioned as a movie, and they've been making it for 100 years, and it's finally coming out. And unfortunately for us, it stars. Pretty sure main character is Matthew Lillard. So
whoa.
Unfortunately, Chris, our butts are gonna be in seats day one.
For sure. Well, since we're talking about spooky stuff and you said the Nightmare on Elm Street thing, I think we talked about it last year, but yeah, just confirming again that for sure Nightmare on Elm Street is happening.
And without a doubt, we are watching Freddy vs. Jason again.
Yeah. Yes, and it's one of those things where I get it. All of our descriptions, all of it says weekly. We've moved to bi-weekly. But
it's true.
For Halloween, it will legitimately be weekly. 2 episodes of Nightmare each week for all of October.
It'll be a real nightmare for us to record that much.
Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street 1, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, which is called
Dream Warriors?
Dream Warriors, something like that. Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Dream Child.
Freddy's Revenge.
Okay.
Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Final Friday.
Okay.
Nightmare on Elm Street 6 is
Freddy X.
A New Nightmare, I think.
Wes Craven's A New Nightmare.
Yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street 7 is the remake, technically, or whatever. Well, I guess
one.
The Jason one, the Freddy vs. Jason one, and then the 8th is.
All right, we gotta do the remake.
The remake one. I might be missing one in there, but I think those are all of them. Let's see how I did.
Well, for sure not Final Friday. There's also the TV show.
1 second. Sorry, I was totally stonewalling you. What did you say?
We could do it. Do you want to do the TV show?
Hell no.
It's like a Twilight Zone thing, but it's hosted by Freddy. And they're scary. And
how many episodes are there?
400.
According to Wikipedia, 44.
I was close. I said 4.
And they all run 45 minutes.
Ooh.
So they're hefty.
Let's
see. Films. 1, 2, 3. So, okay. Number 2 is Freddy Revenge. Number 3 is Dream Warriors. Number 4 is The Dream Master.
One of them's not Dream Child?
Dream 5 is Dream Child.
Ah!
Dream 6 is the final. Dream 7 is New Nightmare. Then Freddy vs. Jason. And then 9 is Nightmare on Elm Street. That's why I even wanted to check in the first place, because I was like, 8, how did I come up short? And while I knew all of the names except for Dream Master and Dream Child...
You did say Final Friday.
I did, but I totally forgot about, obviously, one of those films. And I'm just going to say Dream Child just because why not say that, So, anyways, yeah. So that's what October looks like for us. It's going to be fun. We didn't do it for the podcast, but just for shits and gigs, because you were so hype on it after our last Halloween excursion. We all watched it, me, you, and Elton. And I think you've watched it even one more time since then, or at least attempted to.
I did.
So,
I remember very little of it still.
Yeah. Second one, first one, fun, good, spooky to some degree, original, creative. Second one, a lot of people consider it to be one of the gayest movies ever made.
Can't wait.
And then from then on, it's kind of like fun bad.
Yeah. Didn't the guy that the gay one? It was like the script was very gay, and the director's like, "Oh, I get this. It's very gay," and made it very gay. And then the screenwriter was like, "Oh yeah, I made it very gay, but like in a bad way. Like I don't like gay." And the guy took it and made it gay in a good way.
Maybe. I don't know. There's like the entire documentary's out about it. I can't remember offhand, but I know that there was something going on there. Like, I think the actor was adamant that he wasn't gay, but then came out to be gay later too. Like, I don't know. There's just like a lot of stuff like that. Or maybe it's like the actor isn't and hated how gay it was. But we'll talk about that when it's time to talk about it.
But I want to talk about it now.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, so we should probably roll picture at this point, right? Let's get on with the show.
I feel like I have one other thing to say, but I don't remember. So I shouldn't have said this right now. Let's get on with the thing.
You know what you look like?
Oh, God. It's never good when you do this.
What are the other ones I said? I said Sam Hyde, and I said...
You told me I looked like Sam Hyde.
Yeah.
And then you told me I had Barry energy, and I thought, is Chris my enemy?
And then someone told you look like Moist Critical. I didn't say that, though.
Yeah.
But I said something else. I can't remember what else was the other thing I said to you. I've also always joked that you look like if Jay fucked Silent Bob.
Yeah. A lot. My dad does too.
But here's what this is going to be the.
My dad doesn't look like that. My dad tells me I look like that.
I respect you, and you don't look bad. It's a funny bit. I hope it's not destroying you slowly from the inside.
It might be. What is it this time?
You look like Wayne's World with a beard. You look like Garth and Wayne, but with a beard also.
That's because I have glasses.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I don't love it, but I don't hate it.
So anyways, we watched a movie called X, and then we also watched a movie called Pearl, both written and directed by T. West. Is it T. West?
No idea.
T. West. And then Pearl, co-written by Mia Goth or whatever. Both of them starring Mia Goth. Are these like Mia Goth vehicles?
I believe so, yeah. They shot them back to back.
I know a couple things about Mia Goth. One is that I like her as an actress. I like her.
She's fine,
actress, yeah. Married to Shia LaBeouf, and then 3 that she's kind of like, one of those actors. There's kind of the fringes, like a little more avant-garde, is like on fashion shows sometimes.
Don't got eyebrows.
Yeah, it doesn't got eyebrows. And I'm here for it. I like Mia Goth. I like the making a name for yourself in horror and kind of sticking to it. It'd be cool if she branched out past it when they outgrew it or whatever, but also if she didn't and she just hung out in horror, it would be awesome. I was a Infinity Pool enjoyer. I know you thought it was pretty mids. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm here for Mia Goth. I'm here for the Mia Goth A24 collabs. I like the A24 horror movies. We've talked about it. We'll probably talk about it more with X. But I mean, I've been saying it since, always. A24 outside of like, something like The Lighthouse or whatever. It always kind of gives me like, just like really, 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 really done well. Very aesthetically appealing. Like they like treated with care. And like almost like homage from a loving place, but still at the end of the day, like just B horror movies that would have been made in the 70s and the 80s, but like again with just like the polish of like love and support behind them. Like if those movies were given, the adequate kind of, the people making them were actually like, well versed in how to make a movie. Not to take anything away from them, but it was just at a time when like, I mean in the 70s, if you want to make a movie, not everybody's going to film school. But anyways, all I'm trying to say is, yeah, so X, I think, suffers a little bit from that in a kind of, for some reason, lacking something way. Mm-hmm. And then Pearl definitely is much more, in my opinion, memorable, a la something like, Beau is Afraid. Not to say that Beau is Afraid is like the best movie ever made, but it just has like that thing where it's like, it pops and like a, like it just kind of reminds me of that whole A24 flavor of like, okay, now we're in the Everything Ever All at Once era where like things are just bright and over the top and bombastic and memorable.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, neither of us have any history with this, correct?
No. No. I just know that this was like the big Mia Goth thing, and there's also another one coming, but talk about that later.
I remember seeing a bunch of trailers for X, all over the place, and being like, that seems cool.
Same, yeah. I
might
remember that.
see that, and then I never did, and then
same.
I heard about Pearl and was like, okay, it's a prequel to that.
Yeah.
And I didn't put it together that it came out right after X,
Yeah.
and that I never saw a trailer for Pearl.
Yeah.
Because I think at the end of X is a trailer for Pearl.
Okay.
And they just didn't talk about Pearl coming out until it came out. Which, did it come out in theaters?
I think maybe, but the pandemic also happened, so maybe not.
That's true.
I don't know.
I feel like that would be a tough sell to be like, hey, movie theaters, play this movie, but then also we're not going to tell anyone. We have a sequel to it that we want to put out a couple months later.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, like, you know, like shooting yourself in the foot by flooding the market or whatever. Like, give one some time to, like, have its time in the sun. And
exactly. I think it's cool. I love it.
No, for sure, yeah.
But
absolutely.
also, like, as a movie theater, I could see being like, well, you know, we don't know if that one's going to do well, so we don't want to, you know, fill our theaters with your movie that you're not advertising, hoping that the last one's good.
Yeah. Yeah, similar kind of setup, but I just, in my brain, even though I knew that it was factually true, because, like, I'd heard it before that they were, like, a back-to-back type deal, for some reason, like, they were always situated in my head as, like 2018, 2022 kind of a thing. Like, there was a gap for some reason. Like, I don't know why in my mind I'd always situated them as having a gap.
Yeah, me too.
But, yeah.
And I don't know where I got it from, but I had in my head that, like, they were making X, and then someone else was making Pearl, and the directors were talking, and we're like, oh shit, my movie could definitely be a prequel to your movie. Let's do that.
Sure.
And that is, like, as dumb as writing a movie based on 2 books, you know?
Sure. So X.
That was the other episode.
Starts that?
So, that was the other episode.
X starts with it's the 70s.
It's
right?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, yeah.
Which I think, for what it's worth, aesthetically, done pretty well.
Sure, yeah.
Like, if the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake looked like this, I'd be like, pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that. You know, that's something else I want to lob out there is, like, you know, I wish in a lot of remakes, like in this era right now at least, this is my wish for, like, right now. I'm not saying that, like, this is how every remake has to be, and, like, this is my problem with remakes before, nothing like that. I'm just saying, like, right now, because we have such a nostalgia boner and we do that well, like, with, like, Stranger Things and stuff like that, like, if you're going to remake something, why not do your best to, like, do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to, like, remake Back to the Future, you know, why not just keep it in the 80s? We're doing a really good job of being able to replicate what that looks like right now, I feel like, you know? In, like, a really heightened and colorful way that's fun, you know? Same thing with, like, you know, with Friday the 13th. I know we were talking about it on the podcast. Probably, like, some of my favorite things about the aesthetics of the actual game is that, like, it looks just like the movie. But it'd be fun to, like, you know, set it in 80s. Yeah. And have everybody wearing little short shorts and big tall socks and stuff. But anyways, yeah, they do a good job. Basic rundown is there's a guy who really wants to be Matthew McConaughey, and he's dating Mia Goth, and he's got a whole troupe of characters. And they all work on porns together, and they're going out to rent this little, like, house on the property of 2 old horny scary folk, and they're going to try to shoot a porno in secret without the old horny folk knowing.
Because to their knowledge, they're just old regular folk.
Yeah, they don't know that they're scary and horny. They just know that they're old.
They just think they're regular.
Yeah.
And there's some bullshit about them being excited about, porn's about to be mass marketed. People are going to be able to play this in their home.
There's something big, coming with porn,
it's
home video.
For sure, it has an underlying thing to the theme, and it ties in real nicely.
Maybe,
but I didn't catch it. You know why? I'm dumb as hell. I don't know why you're listening to this podcast. I don't know nothing about no movies.
Yeah. Word up. I second that, and you know, me too. Hashtag me too.
The next one's a little bit reminds me of The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
What's that trying to say? Guess what? I don't know. We'll get to it when we get to it, but again, I'm dumb as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I every, like, 6 months make a somewhat okay half-thought idea, and I used mine up in the last episode talking about how Forrest Gump, the character, might be at the American people.
True. I think I had a real good analysis of the first Scream when we talked about it 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and I think I
haven't had a good idea since.
I just emptied the tank right there. Yeah.
Used up every last brain cell.
I've just been coasting off those fumes for 2 years.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So basically, they're all horny and hanging out in the van, just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They stop at a little gas station, yada yada yada.
Except for the cameraman and his girlfriend.
They're pure.
And he's a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And he's gonna make this porno a film.
Yes.
So it's going to be
He's bricked up for cinema.
He really is. And his girlfriend, who is Scream. Oh,
yeah. Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega. And she is like, hey, guys, I know I work the boom mic, but I wear a cross. And I think this is immoral. And that's all I have to do in this movie.
God 1, porn 2. Okay?
God 1, porn 2.
Yeah.
Being a bitch 3. I'm just kidding. And they stop at a gas station. And what happens at the gas station?
What happens at the gas station?
I don't know.
Neither do I.
Oh, they're inside buying some stuff, and
Mia
Goth is like, hey, I'm all slutty in the South. And the lady behind the counter is like, Humph. I don't like you horny city folk coming in here. And then they're pumping gas, and he's filming him pump gas. And then the
lady's like, why don't you feel it from down low so it's like it's his cock?
It'll look great. And then we see it. It's like,
it does not look great
at all.
I was thinking way lower than that.
Who is that actress? What is she in?
Good question.
Like, I remember her being like a Lizzie McGuire type.
Sure.
So to see her...
I'm not good with that shit, I think.
See her in this movie with what I am willing to say the only cum I've seen in a movie.
Yeah.
It felt strange.
Yeah, because like when we watched You've Got Mail last episode, the old lady who owns the shop or used to own the shop, I saw her and I was like, I know this lady from somewhere. Don't know her from anywhere. Same thing happens in
all
Pearl.
look the same.
Yeah, same thing in Pearl. The old guy, her dad in the wheelchair. I was like, oh yeah, this guy was in an X-File. He absolutely was not.
Yeah.
Same thing with like Final Destination. We were watching Final Destination 2 a couple weeks ago with Will Lorenz, friend of the show, and saw a guy and I was like, that dude was definitely in the X-Files. He was, but not in the episode I was thinking. So, in fact, when I saw what episode he was in, I was like, what fucking who? What character? Huh? Don't remember that at all. So all I'm trying to say is, yeah, I'm not good with names of the characters. I'm not good with names of the actors. I'm not good with what they've been in. And I think that is abundantly clear if you go back and listen to any episode ever. And I never, ever know any of that stuff, ever.
Okay, so this is where I know her from.
Sure.
She's in Pitch Perfect 1 and 2.
Great.
She's in The Pacifier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that one of these days.
Yeah.
She was in the Prom Night remake, which I remember.
Okay.
And Chris, you're never going to believe it.
She was in Twin Peaks Season 3.
No, she's in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah, okay. Second episode in a row that's getting mentioned. Weird. Yeah. Very odd.
I mean, no, it'll be our third because I did find a way to bring it up in Barbie Oppenheimer.
So anyways, they get to fucking, right? They just like get to fucking.
They get there, old man pulls a gun on them.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, we just called to rent the cabin. And he's like, oh, right. Well, the gun wasn't loaded. It's like, that's insane. I mean, it's the least insane thing this guy does in this movie, but it's like, you guys should go.
But then Matthew McConaughey says, yep, I know. I do the same thing. I keep an unloaded gun in my glove box.
That's true. And then we get this crazy, like, what seems like a miles-long wide shot. And it's just them walking across the lawn to the cabin. And it's like, no, this is... I didn't like that shot. It felt like taxing, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
That's such a awful way for, like, a stupid 10-cent word kind of way for me to do that. It just felt like it's just a long shot and it goes on for a little bit too long of them walking across the lawn. Like, it's supposed to make you feel like, you know what I mean? Like something, it's slow on and I just didn't get it. Like, I just didn't like it. Like, it was just something was off about it. But also, I've never made a movie. Like I said, dumb as hell. Don't know nothing.
Yeah.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah. They do a lot to try to capture the 70s feel. Like, there's a scene where they're, like, shooting the van driving across the screen, basically, but you're behind the reeds of a pond.
Yeah.
They do a lot to just, like, full 70s that shit out. But they get to fucking... And you're right, they do show the man coming all over a lady's butt. And the cum looks just like actual real-life cum. And I've never seen that in a movie. And then friend of the show, Will Lorenz, said it's not that hard to make fake cum. And he said mix coconut water with like hand sanitizer. And we were both like...
You done this before?
Yeah.
And he like...
brushed it off. We just came up before.
Yeah, changed the conversation,
So...
Gotta respect his knowledge and B, his swiftness.
In and out, that man is. But anyways, so... They
buck.
Yeah, they do their thing. Mia Goth wanders off, and she like swims in a pond that she doesn't know an alligator's right behind her. You missed this, but it's like this big overhead shot where like she's just like doing kind of like a forward crawl very slowly for it's like a long shot.
Uh-huh.
And she's just moving across it to the dock. And just a little bit behind her is the alligator. And it's like gaining on her a little bit more than she's moving. But it's not like super tense necessarily. Mm-hmm. And then by the time she gets to the dock, after like this has happened for over a minute, she climbs up and just misses the alligator doing anything.
I saw that bit. She's out here in overalls with
Indiana
no shirt.
land. Oh yeah,
Just strange.
Texas land.
Old lady watches her get into the lake.
Does indeed from the woods. Creepy.
And
Old people, stay in your lane.
Yeah, she gets
your
out of the
lane
lake.
is a chair in front of a TV.
Yes, if you're lucky.
Don't be in the woods.
Also missed. I love. They do it twice in this movie, but when they transition from the porno to her in the lake, it does that flashing thing where it just flashes between both shots a couple times and then lands on the second one.
Yeah, I like that. A couple of those.
Nice.
There's some really good transitions in this movie, actually. Yeah.
And then she wanders up to the house without her shirt on for some reason and just goes inside.
Yeah.
And then old lady goes, "Rah." I can't remember what the old lady says, and she's
They
like,
sit down and have milk, and it keeps flashing between that and then what's going on in the porno, which is that like the lady's giving the man a glass of orange juice. Or something,
they're both scenes are drinking lemonade for some reason. I'm like, is this old lady gonna fuck this young lady?
Yeah.
Didn't know they were both Mia Goth at this point.
Neither did I until you said it after we finished Pearl.
Yeah, I watching it, I was like, I've never seen an old person who is more obviously a young person in makeup, but I didn't put together.
But she doesn't look like an old Mia Goth. Really.
She just looks like an old hag. Yeah.
It's deceiving.
And this old lady is Pearl. Spoilers. I don't think that's a spoiler yet. And they drink the lemonade, and she's like, all right, gotta go.
Got a blast.
They're walking to the front, and old lady's like, look at all these pictures of me when I was younger.
And then while she's looking at pictures, she goes for a little sneaky tickle.
No, she's like, this is my husband. He do anything for me. I used to be beautiful. Look in this mirror. You're beautiful. And then she touches her boob, and she's like, what? What'd you do? And she goes, it'll be our secret. And she's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
But then, an old truck pulls up, and she's like, you better get out of here.
Oh, yeah, and she's Metal Gear Solid's out the back.
Yeah.
And then runs back inside the porno barn.
Yes.
Or porno shack.
Sure.
Doesn't tell anyone about that, I think.
No, keeps that to herself. She honors. Old lady says, let's let it be our secret, and she does.
It's true. And then
good person Mia Goth is.
She goes inside, someone throws a bandana at her, and they go, you're up, kiddo. I don't think that happens. I really hope no one called her kiddo, because she's going to go film a porno.
Yeah.
And they go into the barn.
And they smash ass.
They smash ass. And just like the last scene, you get a clip of churchy mouse girl, boom operator.
Just getting fucking randy.
She's looking at it just like wild-eyed.
Wowie.
And I'm like, this is strange.
Yeah. Old lady watches.
My favorite part of this movie, I'll cut this part out too, is they start fucking and Chris is like, damn, Mia Goth. And then they show it from the back and Chris is like, damn, Mia Goth.
You don't gotta cut that. Mia Goth? Shelley Duvall?
I was gonna say that. Mia Goth feels like the Shelley Duvall of our generation.
100%. Yeah. Winona Ryder. Those are like top 3.
Love to watch smash ass.
Like, well, no, I'm just saying like celebrity. If like I had to say crush, I guess like I don't usually do that thing. Like I don't know that fucking person. It's a human being I don't know.
But aesthetically.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like anytime someone's like, oh my god, I just love them. It's like, well, you don't know them and they don't know you. But if you were to ask me like who do you think is the most attractive celebrities, I'd be like those 3. You know, it's not like I'd meet them and be like humana. But I am saying that they're beautiful women.
That's great because you got young, middle-aged, old as hell. You got the whole spectrum.
I do, yeah. I don't discriminate.
Yeah.
So I'm a man of every type of lady there is out there.
As long as you're white with black hair.
I guess so. Yeah, actually, I guess so. Embarrassing. Anywho,
they're smashing ass. Old ladies watching.
Fucking crazy. She makes eye contact with an old woman and doesn't bat an eye. I might add. That's the odd thing is she just turns back and gets the job done.
She's a professional A.
Yeah, I guess don't make a scene. Yeah, I guess you ruin the take. But afterwards, I'd be like, maybe again she's keeping a secret. Every time I have an objection to how she's handled the situation, I just think, nah, that's probably the best way to handle it.
Yeah.
Anyway, she took it on the chin. Then they're just hanging out, right? They're just hanging out. And this is my least favorite thing I've ever seen in my whole life. I wanted to kill myself very badly during this. The gentleman who's the star of the show goes, "All right, you ready?" And he starts playing guitar, and then the lady starts doing Landslide, and everyone listens for the full duration of the song. And
let's pull over to the side for a minute.
For sure, this is a sidebar.
Have this conversation.
Yeah.
Anybody listening?
Yeah. If you know a friend who plays guitar, end of it. They don't perform for you.
Yeah.
They don't
perform for your friends.
Exactly. Yeah.
They perform.
Not on a boat, not at your house, maybe at your wedding.
Yeah. If you pay them.
You know, that's appropriate.
Absolutely. Just like if you have a guitar,
yeah,
you shouldn't bring it to a bonfire.
Nope.
And start singing.
Nope.
You shouldn't, on the opposite side of that coin, expect anybody who knows how to play guitar to play guitar for you.
Sure.
You know why?
Unless
the
world is over, there's no access to radio or Spotify.
Oh, absolutely.
It's 1883.
Yes.
And you've never seen a guitar before. So those are the two situations in which this is okay. So I guess in a sense, though they played a record earlier. They had a record player.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, so anyways, but the other thing that's crazy is that they all like close their eyes like they're really feeling it.
Which never happens. That's why you don't ask someone to do this.
Because you know what happens? Just pantomime that you're playing like Wish You Were Here or something like that or whatever.
I'm doing it.
Everybody in the room just stares at you like this.
Yeah, he's staring at me blankly. It's
in the eyes too.
Yeah, like it's crazy awkward. It's like, say you're at like a festival or a fair, and you're walking down the street,
sure,
and you walk by a band playing,
yeah,
and you're there with a group of people, and you're watching them, and you're like, oh, nice. And you're like, okay, I've seen 45 seconds of this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on, and then you look around, and you go, oh, everybody else left, and I'm the only part of the audience.
Yeah.
So, I guess I gotta stay for a bit.
Yeah.
That's the whole experience, but way more intimate.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest. There have been times where bands that I like I've gone to see, and I've been like, dude, they've been at it for 45 minutes. Can they wrap this up?
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyways, whatever. This aside, after that happens, then Kenny Omega goes, I want to get fucked on camera. And everybody universally goes,
hell yeah.
That'd be a great idea. But as soon as they're saying that, you give me a hell yeah in 3, 2, 1. Her boyfriend goes,
hell yeah.
Well, hang on, I'll do it in a second. Her boyfriend is, I'm being her boyfriend, you're everybody else, so I'm gonna give it a 3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hell
what
yeah.
the fuck?
Exactly.
And then everybody goes like, what? You're being kind of a cuck bitch right now. You're
They
really
are.
being like a huge pussy about your girlfriend getting railed on camera.
But before that, before we get to him and
sure.
his justifiably upset storyline,
Just getting gaslit by 8 people. Alone in a cabin before the internet. You can't even call your mom and be like, my friends are being really mean right now.
Yeah. But before that, I love how fast the turn in the conversation goes.
Yeah.
Where she's like,
Landslide's over.
She's like, how do y'all do this? And they're like, oh, fuck, you haven't talked before. And she's like,
yeah.
Isn't it immoral what y'all doing?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, fuck you, everybody does it. And
yeah.
she's like, what do you mean everybody does it? And they're like, everybody fucks, who cares? And she goes, I'd like to fuck on camera.
Yeah, yeah. And her boyfriend's like, what? No, you hold the boom, you can't do that. And she's like, why can't I? And yeah, basically kind of pulls him outside and she's like, hey, listen, Led Zeppelin, Soul of a Woman, created down below, woman is evil, you can either let her fuck this guy or you tell her no and she goes fucks a million guys. So it's like you kind of got to give this evil woman one little sacrifice offering or else she's just going to go out and have all the snacks she wants. Which would you rather her have, a Ritz cracker or go out and go to a Gold Country buffet? But dicks.
And he goes, Ritz cracker.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, again, just getting gaslit by 9 people.
Yeah. Just a horrible nightmare. You're scrawny, long hair, glasses guy.
Uh-huh.
And big men go, I'm 40, you're 23, and you are being a pansy.
Let this guy fuck your girlfriend.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, like, just, oh God, like I said, the turn in the conversation comes so fast that when he's like, I don't want you to do that. And she's like, well, they just all told me that it's the 70s, so I should fuck on camera. Yeah. And he goes, yeah, but you didn't think that literally 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I think we're being a little rash here. And they go, no, we're doing this. We're filming this scene right this second.
Yeah. That was a great 15-second summation of exactly what happens. Bravo. Because, yeah, that's exactly what happens.
And then it, of course, cuts to everybody asleep at night.
Yeah.
And him in the
wide
shower
awake.
crying.
Yeah. Yeah, crying in a way which, like...
Because also he had to film it.
Yeah. That is the other thing, is it's not just fucking on camera, it's you filming your girlfriend getting fucked on camera. Crying in a way which it should have immediately started like one by one panning to everybody laying awake, side-eyeing like,
we did something bad.
Who's gonna go address this? But no, they sleep like babies because they didn't.
Because they all fucked. Bad. They're all tired.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Everyone except for him fucked.
Yeah. And then after he cries in the shower for a bit, he's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out of here.
And I'm like, you know what, man? Good on you.
Yeah, he hops in the van and Fear the Reaper plays, or Don't Fear the Reaper, whatever the fuck that 70s song is.
Yep.
And then Old Lady in the Headlights. And I get it. It's a horror movie. I'm not doing that cliche thing right now. I'm really not. I'm not, like, criticizing it because it's like, why would they be so dumb? I get it. Like, it's scary because he's doing what you shouldn't do. Like, that's the whole point of a horror movie, is like, you're like, what? No, don't go in there. And it's like, that's what you're doing right now, is like, you're scared. You're like, no, don't do that. Like, he's playing out the worst case, the thing that, like, you know he shouldn't do. But yeah, objectively, I was just like, bro, Old Lady in the Headlights, fuck her. Get the shit out of there.
I mean, hell, even if it's not spooky and it's the middle of the day and I'm leaving that farm and I see an old lady outside, I go,
I don't give a fuck. I'm like,
it's her house. She's allowed to be here. Bye-bye.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, he gets out and he's like, hey, old lady. And she, like, kisses him on the neck.
Yeah.
Right? And then stabs his head a billion times until his head is no longer attached to his body.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, very grotesque movie. Very gruesome movie.
Lot, yeah.
Yeah, it was a whole lot. A whole lot.
So, lucky for that guy, he didn't have to think about his girlfriend getting fucked on camera for too long.
Yeah. So I'm going to say, there's like 2 or 3 times in this movie where, in my opinion, I was like, damn, that was some, like, I'm not a gore guy, but I was like, that was some really repulsive gore stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That was, like, just on the edge of, like, not being so bad that I'm like, oh, God, because I am that guy that's like, oh, God, a little bit. But I was like, okay, that was stomach churning, but, like, I didn't have to look away necessarily. So just, I'm saying, tasteful gore.
Yeah, I think the gore is it is a bit over the top, but if you're going to have gore in a movie, I think this is good.
Yeah.
The good version of it, because it's
like a little cartoonish and like not repulsive enough that you're like scarred for life.
Yeah, it's repulsive and it's cartoonish, but every time something happens, like him getting stabbed in the neck over and over again until he doesn't have a head anymore, it's like, ugh, I haven't seen that before. Yuck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, like, someone's head explodes in a movie, I go, I've seen 1,000 heads explode in 1,000 movies. Yeah. But yeah, just like very specific stuff that happens in this movie. I'm like, oh, yuck.
Yeah, like we'll get to in a second, but anyways. So, go ahead.
Do you know what the worst... Can you think in your head, like, what the worst one in a movie you've seen? Like, one that, like, sticks with you? Because I've never been, like, woozy or, like, sick except for one time.
Really? Well, give me yours.
It happens right in a row, but seminal Human Centipede 2.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Nope.
It's about a guy who's obsessed with the first movie.
Yeah.
But he's, like, weird and quiet and, like, has a weird bad life. And he's just like, okay, he doesn't talk through the movie either.
He's just mute?
Yeah. And it's in black and white, which makes it all scarier for some reason. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to do my own Human Centipede, but I'm going to make it, like, 12 people. And he's not a doctor, so he gets all these people together, and, they're just, like, duct tape and stapled together and stuff like that. But in the first movie, the doctor talks about how he cuts this specific vein in their knee so that they can't stand up. And then he removes the teeth of the 2 people in back so that, they can't chew down on poo. And so this guy does it, but it's just a very graphic him with a scalpel just in someone's knee, fishes out the vein, and cuts it. And I went,
like, ooh. He's not good necessarily? Like, he's at what he does, or?
Oh, yeah, no, he's not a doctor at all. This is just, like, he's
yeah.
just a butcher in this, and it's awful.
Right.
And that made me, like, a little, like, squeamish. So I was like, oh, God, that sucks. And then you see a bunch of shots of him knocking people's teeth out with hammers. And I don't know how they do it, because you can see, like, he hits someone's teeth out and, like, they, like, go in the back of their throat, and it's like a top-down shot like this, and they go, oh, and they're, like, choking on their own teeth. That made me genuinely nauseous.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of anything offhand, really. I mean, like, yeah, there's stuff in this movie, and, like, I don't know, like, I remember, like, it's always, like, when the 2 killers in Scream are stabbing each other, I'm always like, oh, just, like, the implication almost is just, like, so, like, when, like, Matthew Lillard's like, oh, I'm getting woozy or whatever, I buy it, because he's such a fucking good actor.
Yeah, and it's when there's, like, subtle moments.
But it's not gore, necessarily.
Yeah, it's not gore, but it's subtle, where it's, like, 2 guys being like, well, it's got to be believable that we have to stab each other. Yeah. And, like, when it's, like, a situation like that, you think for a second, you're like, man, I wonder what it's like to be stabbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it sucks when you see him get stabbed over and over again.
Anywho, after that, then Kenny Omega wakes up and she's like, "Oh my god, my boyfriend's gone. Matthew McConaughey, we should look for this guy. I should have never fucked on camera. That was a huge mistake. What the fuck?"
He's like, "Hold on, me and my little underwear will walk around and try to find him in the barn."
Yeah, let's go walk around in the dark in our, just our bare minimums. And so he goes into the barn because she goes up to like the house. And he's in the barn. He's like, "Come on, cameraman. So your girlfriend had sex with another guy.
He has no indication that this guy is in the barn.
Yeah.
Just starts going off because he thinks,
has to be.
I feel like it.
Yeah. So what? Someone else made your girlfriend come? Is that the worst thing that could ever happen in the whole world? Then he starts looking. He steps on a nail.
Yes.
That was rough.
It
Just
is.
barefoot, step on a nail. Horrible. Then he's like, "Jesus Christ, cameraman, you gotta help me. I am in a pickle." And then
I'm gonna get tetanus.
yeah, tetanus faux show. Anyway, so then he like sees like a little hole in the wall or something like that.
This is
He's
the
like,
dumbest horror movie part of this movie.
he's like, "Cameraman, you out there? Cameraman,
You
He, like,
behind
puts
this
his-
hole?
Yeah, and then he gets stabbed in the eye.
With a pitchfork, yeah.
Yeah, it's some classic horror movie stuff.
And then Kenny Omega is up at the house.
Yeah.
And the husband comes out and goes, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I can't find my boyfriend." He goes,
Yeah.
Well, I can't find my girlfriend. I mean, wife."
Yeah, "I need a flashlight down in the basement if you could get it for me because I'm old."
And she goes, "Yeah, sure." And she goes down there. And she goes, I can't see no flashlight. And then he shuts the door on her
Yeah.
and locks it. And she's like, "What the hell?" And
Yeah.
then she turns the light on and then screams. Like
Yeah.
in Scream.
Scream. Because there's a guy out there with his dick out, but he's dead, chained up on the wall.
Is he dead?
I thought he was dead.
I felt like he was breathing a little bit, which made it worse.
Oh.
And yeah, they just got a naked dude tied up in the basement.
Yeah.
That you don't know and you've never seen before.
Yeah, then,
Which is wild.
Then the main fucker gets up because he thinks he hears something in the house because the old lady's in the house.
No. Not the main fucker. The soul fucker.
The soul.
The only fucker.
The only man who fucks. And he gets up to like look for the noise or whatever, and he finds the old man. The old man's like, "I think my wife might be down by the pond. Can you help me look?" And he's like, "Once a Marine, always a Marine." "Yes, sir." Because he's just dick out also.
Uh-huh.
There's actually a shot where you can see his like comically large penis dangling between his legs. So just the shadowy outline of it. So anyways, he puts on stuffs. They go out to the pond. Then this has got to be hands down all time one of the worst things that could happen to you. It's what everybody thinks is happening to them when they're sleeping, for sure. The old woman comes into Mia Goth's room, and she gets naked, and she's still covered in blood from when she stabbed that guy or whatever. And then she this is like forever. This scene is gone.
It happens between 4 other scenes, yeah.
Yeah, and she pulls the sheet off Mia Goth's body and like exposes her, and she's just got panties on or whatever. And then she kind of touches her body a little bit, just some, and then she sits down on the bed naked next to her, and then she starts touching her some more, and then eventually they're face to face, and Mia Goth just opens her eyes to the old lady. And again, worst thing you could possibly open your eyes to, I feel like.
Second
other than
worst
your
thing,
family
though.
being murdered in front of you, you just open just in time to see your mom get stabbed or something. But,
Yeah, if I was in her situation, I woke up and there was a naked woman there, I'd be like, "What?" A naked old woman there, I'd be like, "What the fuck?" And
Yeah.
I'd be like, I would scream too. But also, I think equally as terrifying, but in a different way, is to wake up in the middle of the night and hear your friend screaming, and then open your bedroom door and you just see a naked old woman sprint past your door.
Yeah.
That shot, it made me laugh. I was like, that's genuinely terrifying.
Yeah.
Especially when Mia Goth goes, "That old woman was touching me in my bed." It's like, a lot's going on. And Pitch Perfect Girl is crazy calm about it when she finds her later. She's like, "Come on, let's get you back inside." I'm like, no. Let's all get in the truck and we all go. We shot the movie already.
Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah. So I know that Mr. Marine finds the flashlight and the VW bug, and then the old man shoots him in the chest and kills him. Very sad because I liked him.
Is it a
But-
VW bug?
Yeah, there was a yellow VW bug.
Okay, because that's what I thought. And then, spoilers, in Pearl,
Yeah.
that guy's car goes in there. And I thought, oh, is that the same car? Has that been here for 60 years?
But how does the lady with the blonde hair die?
She pushes her to the lake and alligator eats her.
Old lady does?
Yeah, and she goes, "Bitch."
How does she get down to the lake?
Old lady's at the lake, naked.
Yeah.
And she goes down there and she goes, "Oh, it's okay. We'll get
Wait,
you
why
back."
did she go down there?
She goes, she puts a blanket over her and she goes, "My Nana used
No,
to
but
get
why did
confused."
blonde hair lady go down there?
Because she went looking for the old lady.
Oh, okay.
Because she
And this
was
is the
just
middle of the
naked.
night it happens?
Yes, it's right after she runs out of the cabin after Mia Goth screams and wakes up.
Okay. So anyways, Mia Goth does cocaine and cleans the blood off her body.
Oh, yeah. Doing cocaine all throughout this movie.
Also, Jenny Omega in the basement, she finds a little hatchet. She chops the door open, Shining style. Because there's a couple shots in this thing that are obvious homages to things like that. Like there's a moment where you get the Halloween POV from the old lady's perspective when she goes into Mia Goth's room. I can't remember some of the other ones right now, but they talk about
Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, they talk about Psycho, and for example, in Psycho, they ditch a car in the swamp or whatever. So obviously, a car in the bog, whatever. Like there's a couple in there. I can't remember them all, but they're in there. Kudos.
I just said like I do. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna front you.
You ain't no seen no Psycho?
I've never seen no Psycho.
I saw some Psycho a couple years ago, and I was like, damn, you know what? It was one of those things where, like, me personally, I have, like, often, I don't mean this as a diss, but I often have the opposite, experience that you have whenever you see a movie that, like, The Wizard of Oz or, like, The Godfather. I watch it, I'm like, damn, that was, like, 6 times as good as I thought. Because I always go in thinking, this has to blow. So then when I watch it, I'm like, no, this is actually, like, the fucking most genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened with Psycho, like, that whole thing of, like, the whole MacGuffin or whatever, and it becomes a different movie. Yeah, I was, like, hook, line, and sinker, like, for, like, 80% of that movie, it's, like, this lady runs off with some money, and her boss sends, like, people to, like, look for her, like, PIs and stuff, and so she's just, like, on the run, like, yeah, I've got all this money, and I got a car, and, I don't know, I'm kind of sleepy, so I'm going to stay at the Bates Motel. And then, like, she dies because she gets murdered, and then the movie plays on with everybody still assuming she's on the run with the money, and just you as the audience, it's like just dramatic irony, like done to the best I've ever seen it done, because like everybody's operating as if she's still alive and out there with the money, and you just know that she's dead, and that her car was pushed into a swamp, and that the money is in the swamp too, because again, like dramatic irony, like he doesn't even know the money exists. Like it's purely just 2 movies smashed together. You know what I'm saying? Like like they're all operating on this money motive thing, and Mr. Bateman has no idea about any of that, or Norman Bates or whatever the fuck. Like he's just a creepy guy who murders people who come to his hotel that just happen to have a lady who has hundreds of thousands of dollars in her. Anyways, whatever.
You know what? I'm gonna watch. We should do it for the podcast.
Sure.
You should watch Psycho. I'll watch the Vince Vaughn
Psycho. Oh, sure. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Let's flip that, though, because you've never seen Psycho, and I have, so at least the remake one will be new for me. And the Psycho one will be new for you because you've never seen it.
Yeah, but I want to... Isn't it more exciting for me to get a fresh take on the remake?
Okay. Anyway. It is kind of. That is interesting. That's a tough thing to call. But, so it's just basically like like I said, Kenny Omega hatchets out the thing, and then she goes to like try to open the door, and this was the most shocking thing for me ever. Just the old man just starts fucking smashing her fingers with the butt of his gun, and it's such a good practical effect. I think it's mostly practical. It could be CGI enhanced, whatever, but like fucked me up really bad. Her smashed up hand is really hard to watch. That was so fucked up. That one was really a tough one. That was probably the most tough one. Because, again, it's just one of those things where it's like you don't see that often. I mean, you see heads explode or you see people get stabbed or whatever, but you really don't see someone just, like, blunt force trauma just lose the ability for, like, their fingers to be worth anything for the rest of their life, for sure. And then, there's just general... This
Folks
part is, like,
getting killed.
Yeah, this is, like, the final act where, like, the old people are running around doing their thing. Mia Goth is around.
Old man shoots fuck man.
Yeah.
Oh, also, earlier you missed it. Old lady to husband was, like, daddy horny. But a lady way, and old man's like, my heart will explode if I try. And she's like, no. And so later, after everybody except for Mia Goth is dead,
she's under the mattress.
She's under the mattress.
You don't know that till after they get into fucktown.
Yeah, and old lady goes, but really, daddy horny? And he goes, but my
heart.
Daddy
and she
horny.
Goes,
you'll be fine, daddy horny. And he goes, all right, daddy horny. Yeah. And they bang, and Mia Goth is under the bed. And that's, honestly, I think the worst thing that's happened to anybody in this movie. I can't imagine. And so she starts...
Would you rather have your hand smashed up like that, or have
hand smashed up?
Really?
Hook, line, and sinker, yeah. Sold. And so she sneaks out. She crawls out from under the bed. She army crawls.
Yeah.
Old man has a heart attack and dies. And then...
We should also mention real quick that this whole time the old people have been watching this crazy, like, preacher, like, the world is full of sin, black and white thing.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
The whole time through.
Yeah, we'll get to it, but that remind me in the very end when that comes back.
Yeah.
I think we missed, maybe Mia Goth went outside, saw Kenny Omega, got Kenny Omega out of the barn, out of the cellar, and Kenny Omega gets shot in the head? I missed that
Something
part.
like that, yeah.
Yeah. And then... I remember old man being here. This old man doesn't die when they have sex, right?
No, he dies after. He dies, they're like... I can't remember exactly what happens. I think like
He shoots
he
Kenny
gets
Omega.
scared by something. Something scares him. He
Yes,
goes like,
he shoots Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
They're dragging Kenny Omega in, half their face blown off, and they go, and that scares him. And
Yeah.
he has a heart attack and he dies.
yeah.
And then Mia Goth has gun.
But it's the one from the glove box that's
Yes.
not loaded. We know that because earlier he said.
She points at an old lady. Click. There's nothing there. This is what I was saying. Remind me of. Didn't know what would happen 45 seconds later. I really like that shot of her holding a gun across the hallway at them.
Yeah.
But like one half of the screen is her, and then it's the whole hallway, and then in the foreground is the TV.
Yeah.
With the preacher stuff. I thought it was
Yeah.
good.
And then old lady shoots shotgun at her, but she narrowly avoids it. But old lady gets blasted back 'cause she's old. And then Mia Goth and her have this little dialogue where she's like, "You're nothing but a little slut," and Mia's like, "Fuck you, old lady," and then runs over her head with the truck.
She does. Yeah.
Yeah.
She gets in that truck. And I was like, all right, cool. But au revoir, Shoshana. And then she
Yeah.
puts it in reverse. And I went, oh, no.
Yeah. And then the TV, it's like, "This world of sin. Look at my beautiful daughter," or something. That shows Mia Goth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Mia Goth is doing coke in the car and driving away.
Yeah.
And then there's credits.
So I guess the Mia Goth that's Pearl on the TV? Or that's actual Mia Goth?
I think that's Mia Goth.
Okay.
Maxine, is that her name?
Yeah. It just gets confusing with like Mia Goth being the old lady
Yes.
and also Pearl for me sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
I get that.
Anywho, that's...
Yeah, because Pearl's dad is the wheelchair guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he wouldn't be a preacher guy.
That's why I was going to ask you. I was going to explain it to me. But anyways, so that's that.
That's that.
Good.
Fine movie.
Yeah. I honestly had more fun talking about it.
Yeah.
Not than watching it, but it's like you're saying sometimes when we talk about a movie, I'm like, you know what, I like it more though. We talked about it. Yeah, it's a fun one. I'm gonna give it like a solid B+. It's a fun horror movie. You know, it's not the best thing I've ever seen,
Yeah.
but you know, it's just a
Yeah. I got spooked. I got jumped. Neither of them felt that cheesy.
There was cum.
I giggled a little bit. I saw cum for the first time in a movie.
Old people had sex.
Saw old people having sex. Saw young people having sex.
Saw a guy get cucked
Saw a guy get cucked.
against his will.
Against his, I don't think it's. Yeah, it is sometimes at your will. I saw. I saw. What else happened in this movie? Saw Swamp, I guess. And I just had a good time. I saw cool shot transitions. That's what I was gonna say. And I think this movie's just fine. I agree with you. I'm gonna give it a solid B.
Just trying to get a picture of Cooper looking all cute, but she moved.
What a
That
bitch.
little stinker. So yeah. And then, you know, we watched immediately after. Not immediately after, that's a lie. But pretty soon after, Pearl,
We sure did.
which is a prequel.
Sure is.
Which I'm often not a watcher of.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many prequels I've seen before, but I feel like that's like the bastard, like, child.
Yeah.
You know, like there's the sequel, which is already kind of like, okay, here we go, and then the prequel's really like just shitville.
Yeah.
I know that there's been some good ones, but like for example, Godfather 2 I think is technically a prequel, right?
Yes.
Doesn't it? Yeah, follow. So yeah, I know there's been some good ones for sure, but I know that like general attitude towards prequels are not positive.
Yeah. They feel pretty cash
Like
grabby.
Hannibal Rising or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Because again, like I know I'm being an asshole when I say this, and I don't mean this for every prequel. Obviously, there are exceptions, but I feel like the general gut reaction is like, "Oh, you mean before the interesting thing happened?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like literally, the whole point of where a movie starts is it should be as close to the interesting stuff as possible.
Yeah.
So you're talking about setting your movie before that?
It's like if you can do it's like, yeah, we can do a fun, intriguing story with these characters just earlier in time.
Yeah.
And I feel like 90% of the time it's not intriguing enough for me to not be like, well, I know what happens later. I know they
Yeah.
all make it out of this.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, oh yeah, no, this mystery of what's going on here, I'm pretty into this, but I can't. Let me try to. For sure, we've had to have done this on the show before.
What?
Looked up good prequels.
I think we've looked up good sequels, but I don't know about prequels.
Bumblebee. I'm just kidding. I haven't seen it. This list sucks so far. Of course, it's got all the Star Wars on here. Temple of Doom, I guess, counts.
Yeah, it's good.
Not bad, and for what you
Not
like
bad.
about Indiana Jones, it doesn't matter that he gets out of it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen The Thing, 2011, but apparently it's a prequel to the thing 1980 whatever.
Sure.
Okay. X-Men First Class is fun.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's not a bad movie.
Puss in Boots. Fire Walk with Me.
Never saw the first Puss in Boots. Fire Walk with Me is pretty good. I did see The Last Wish, though. Which is the second Puss in Boots movie. I did not know that. Entering the theater.
That's the end of the list.
They didn't put Godfather 2 on there?
They did, but I didn't. I already said it, so I didn't read it.
Great. So, Pearl. One of the things I respect off rip is they were just like, yeah, we're doing a just different movie.
Yeah, same sets. A lot of similar locations, but it's just bright and it's noisy. Like there's like very like fantastical like early film music playing. And
very colorful.
It's very much so the Wizard of Oz at the beginning. She looks like Dorothy.
Yeah. And I will say, it's just one of those things where, like, on the topic of doing something a little different, like, it just reminds me of, like, Terminator 2, Aliens, that thing where it's, like, those are smaller leaps, but, I was having this conversation with my brother Donald, also a friend of the show. Shouts out Donald. But he was talking about how he was like, if you're going to do a sequel, like, I feel like, it's only good if, like, you had it in mind going into it, and you do it immediately after. And I was like, nah, if anything, that's a recipe for a disaster, because if you have it in mind, then your first movie probably wasn't a complete movie.
Yep.
It needs to be supported by the other half of it. And if it's done immediately after, it hasn't had enough time to, like, become its own thing, which is one of the reasons why, like, I really like Terminator 2 and Aliens as sequels, is because it was, like, 10 years later, they were like, okay, what about this twist on the thing? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but so what I'm saying is, like, Alien is, like, this claustrophobic, like, space sci-fi horror thing, and then the second one's, like, an over-the-top sci-fi, like, action thing. Yeah. Right? And same thing with, like, Terminator. It starts with, like, those, like, low-budget sci-fi noir type thing.
The answer is James Cameron, I think.
But anyways, all I'm saying is, like, if you're going to do the sequel, this, obviously, I think breaks my rule, but with of the whole thing where it's like back to back and also maybe pre-planned, maybe not, whatever, but at least like they were like, okay, well, we're not just gonna like do this thing that like answers a bunch of questions you had, we're just gonna make like a different movie that just happens to tie into
exactly,
you know what I'm saying. I think
with sequels there's always like the when it comes to what you're saying, like back to back or wait 10 years, it either goes one of two ways, where people say, oh, it has the middle child syndrome, or it's the best when it's a second movie in a trilogy. Yeah. Because first one happens, it's its own standalone movie. Everybody likes it, they make a Spider-Man 2, Mm-hmm. And you don't have to do any of the setup from the first one. Yeah. And you don't really have to have a super satisfying ending. Yeah. Because a third one's going to happen. So you just have to have fun in the second movie. So a lot of times I think the second movie's really good, and the third movie's like, I'm bored of this.
Yeah. So, we'll find out when Maxine comes out if, that holds water.
But this movie's colorful, it's fun, it's a completely different movie, which I love. Yeah. And I'm trying to think, I'm sure there's an example, and I'm an idiot, and I can't think of it, but can you think of like a horror, like, is this a slasher? Would you call this a slasher? I wouldn't.
Yeah, I guess it technically is.
Like, it's kind of a horror.
It doesn't really follow, like, that formula of, like, the final girl type deal. These are movies where, like, well, I guess the first one does. But this second one is like, it's like one of those things where like the main character is.
That's what I'm getting at.
It's like a Patrick Bateman type situation, like American Psycho or something.
Okay, yeah, I guess American Psycho. Yeah, so I was gonna say, what's another movie where the main character is the murderer? Yeah. But American Psycho's answer to my question. So on you go.
Yeah, it's 1918 or something like that.
No, exactly.
Nice. And World War I.
1918 popped up, and I went, you tell me this old lady was 100 years old in this last one? And Will goes, no, you idiot. The last one took place in the 70s. I was like, all
right. So World War is going on. A pandemic's going on.
The Great War.
The Great War, yes. The big one. They didn't know there was going to be a sequel.
They didn't know it was one, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but they waited a healthy amount of time for the sequel to be worthwhile.
Absolutely.
And boy, was it.
Germany got together and went, I know we did this last time. What if we did something different?
Way worse. What if we
brought it into a new genre?
Yeah. And, I mean this, it's a tasteless thing to say, and I mean it with all due respect, but it is one of those things where, like, I think time has told which one history buffs get the biggest boner off of.
Yeah, for sure.
People get bricked up about World War II.
Yeah.
And World War I kind of got dwarfed.
It really did.
It's like the Batman Begins.
It really is.
You're right. And you know what's sad about The Dark Knight Rises? Is World War III is also going to involve the nuclear bomb.
Yeah, you're right. Where none of us are going to be as into it as they were during World War II.
For sure. So if someone please could fly that bitch out in the middle of the ocean so we all don't die, that'd be great. I just don't know who real world Batman is that could do that for us. Anyways, I'm the dumbest person in real life. Pearl, yeah, you said very colorful Wizard of Oz. Let's just start here because it's fun. She's Dorothy, obviously. She fucks a scarecrow. Super hot.
Yes.
She meets the man behind the curtain.
Yes.
The Wizard of Oz.
You said also could be the lion?
But I would say her husband who goes off to war, that's a very brave thing to do. Lion.
Yeah, he's the lion.
Right. And the Tin Man is like her dad in the wheelchair. You had that one. And then her mom is like the Wicked Witch of the West.
And her
sister-in-law. And then her sister-in-law is like Glinda the Good Witch. Whatever, very blonde and yada, yada, yada.
Is there any other character in that movie?
Toto, the alligator.
Alligator's her dog,
so,
yes. And then...
They just knocked it out of the park right there.
They really did.
How about it? Yeah.
And just like Wizard of Oz, the Scarecrow's my favorite character in this one.
This is a fun movie.
I really enjoyed it, yes.
I did like Pearl.
Spoilers, yes. I liked it much more than X. She work on the farm.
She work on the farm all day long.
She's a Southern belle, but for some reason,
Indeed.
Mom's a scary German. So I don't know
Horrifying
how that works
German.
out. And Dad has sepsis. I don't know what was the
typhoid fever, cholera.
Yeah, I don't know what the pandemic in
some old timey stuff. Oh, pandemic in 1918 it was Spanish flu, influenza.
There you go. That's what he's got. I said this while we were watching it. This happens later in the movie. I'm gonna say it right now.
Sure.
She goes into town. She has to wear a mask to go watch a movie.
Yeah.
Later, she's talking to Superman. He's like, "Yeah, well, once we don't have to be out in these masks all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody making a movie.
Yeah.
New rule. Let's make a new rule.
Yeah.
Well, let's just pretend it didn't happen. I don't want to hear nothing about no pandemic and no movie, okay?
Yeah.
All the commentary. Hey, we were all there. We were all talking online about it. All the takes and all the nuance.
Yeah.
We know, okay? We know it was a bummer. We were all there. We all lived through it. You don't need to tell me this story like you're going to unlock something new for everybody.
Yeah.
We all already know. Did Pearl get really heavy with that? No, not at all.
Yeah.
Didn't need to inspire me going on this rant, but
Sure.
I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you're making a movie that involves a pandemic in any way, shut it down.
Yeah, I mean, this has nothing to do with Pearl at all. But yeah, that's the big thing is that, like, even, like, again, I know I'm an asshole because I've never seen it, and everybody always tells me I'm a dumb, stupid idiot for being so harsh on the man. But even like Bo Burnham inside, I'd have no interest just because it's like, dude, there's nothing anybody can say about the pandemic that is interesting to me. There never has been, and there never will be.
I would say...
I'm not using that as the example.
Yes,
like, that is an example, but I'm just saying, like,
I agree
in general, it's just like...
Absolutely.
Yeah, I get it. It was weird getting groceries.
You're on my
and, like,
we're on the same page.
Yeah, it's just like, I get it. Like,
Absolutely.
there's nothing deeper than it was weird.
Exactly.
It ends with, wow, wasn't that weird?
Yes. I will say...
Yeah.
Small defense for the Bo Burnham one.
Sure.
The Bo Burnham one is less so like, oh, isn't it crazy that we're all doing this? And very specifically him being like, hey, all of my anxieties that I have about myself that I've worked very hard to get over, this is just bringing immediately back to the surface, and this is how I'm feeling during it.
Yeah.
So it's much more like, hey, this is my very unique experience through it, instead of like, wasn't getting groceries strange.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, to speak to it to that degree, like, yeah, there's a way in which it's personally interesting to me, because for me... I had just started college, just entered into like a kind of a real, like a serious relationship. We just started playing music with the band, whatever. You know, I feel like the crew that we had at that time of friends, plus the people I was meeting in the music scene, it actually felt like I had a social life, like a robust one for the first time in my life. And then it was like, well, I'm sorry. Look at that. Global pandemic. It's all gone. So yeah, I can get like the things that I was robbed of in that sense. But again, like you have to like, I feel like for the pandemic to be interesting, you do have to like zoom in. And I don't feel like anything has touched me. Maybe the Bo Burnham could do that. But like, yeah, I feel like most of the time that I see the pandemic being addressed in media, it's what we're talking about where it's like, and you just, it's like, it almost feels like The Fault in Your Stars, like, I'm holding it, but it has no power. Like the cigarette thing, like, it's like, we see each other's faces, but we, you know, if you don't see the nose and the mouth, then do you really see the person or whatever? And it's like, dude, oh my fucking God, shut up about the masks.
Yeah.
Golly. So whatever, that's a totally different thing. Maybe one day we'll watch a movie that does talk about the pandemic more. This movie didn't talk about it that much.
So she worked on the farm.
She worked on the farm.
Mama said go into town.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mama says, go... I can't do a German accent. Mama says, go into
Can't
town.
do any accents ever.
And she's like, fine, I'm going to go see a picture, though. But, oh, no, she doesn't say that to her. She gives Dad a bath and then takes a bath herself.
Yeah, in front of
Dad for some reason.
And her mom comes in and she's like, "What is thou doing, Mia Goth?"
I didn't want to waste the hot water. It's lukewarm at best. And
For sure.
Because a man just took a bath.
Yeah, as a man who, as a child, a couple of times we didn't pay the heat bill and had to share bath water.
That shit don't work.
You never want to do that to begin with, and no, it is not hot anymore.
Yeah. And so she's like, sorry, Mama. And she's like, get the fuck out of this stupid house. All right, go into town, buy medicine, maybe?
Yeah. He's just taking nondescript syrup medicine.
Yeah. And she's like, fine.
Yeah.
Says to Daddy, but I'm going to see a picture.
Yeah.
And because Dad, it will be our little secret because Dad can't talk. That's the joke.
And she loves keeping little secrets.
She does love keeping little secrets. And so she goes into town. She gets Dad's morphine.
Also, we should say that her boyfriend is off. Husband, actually, is off
the
fighting.
old man from the first movie.
He's off fighting in the war. So he's
Sure is.
MIA, but also in the shit. At the
She
same
also
time.
really misses him. She's writing him letters. She hasn't had a letter back. She goes into town, buys Daddy's medicine, goes to see a movie, just starts chugging the medicine while watching the movie.
Yeah.
Love it. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss.
Oh, for
Love
sure.
her.
Yeah.
And then she's leaving.
Because that's interesting. When she gets back, her mom doesn't go, "Why is there half a bottle of syrup?" But instead she goes, "Where is the 8 cents?" You know?
Yeah.
So
The missing medicine, she's like, I get it. She does a little bit
Yeah,
of medicine
exactly.
herself. And then that gets her all raged up. And she's like, where's
For
the 8
sure.
cents?
Yeah.
She leaves the movie just on cloud 9, like, I'm going to be a
'Cause she's high.
dancer.
Yes.
And I'm high as hell.
For sure.
And Projectionalist comes out.
He goes, "Hey, you're a pretty dame, you know that? Would you like a cigarette?"
And she's like, oh, please. And he's like, please smoke. And he's like, you like the pictures? And she's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm going to be a dancer. And he goes,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And then they talk for a little bit. And she's like, I really got to get going.
I have
because
a husband.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She says he's married. And he's like, oh, well, I really kind of don't care about that at all.
Yeah.
And he goes, hey,
He's like,
here.
"Well, if you ever want to see a movie for free, I'm the projectionist."
Yeah. And he goes, here. And he cuts out a film, a frame of the film.
Yeah.
And she goes, won't anybody notice? And he goes, no, it's just one frame. I'll splice it back together. Fun fact, don't know if this is actually true. I think it might just be a tall tale. The movie with the first nude scene, like nude woman in it ever.
Sure.
In America. Movies used to travel the country, like it would be all real that people would go see.
Oh, I
It
know
started
this.
in California, and then
Yeah,
by the
yeah,
time
yeah.
it got to New York, the scene wasn't in there anymore because every projectionist had took a frame.
Yeah.
I also read that, I think, in the Fight Club book, so it might be bullshit.
Sure. I mean, I can tell you that I've jerked off to the film that he shows her later.
Oh, yeah, you did bring that up. Yeah.
Sometimes I'd be looking at old porn, you know?
Just as old as you can.
As old as I can, yeah. It's fun. It's interesting.
I could see it be fun and interesting, but I think during the whole process, I'd be like, these people have been dead a long time.
Well, that's Daniel Johnston's song. It's called It's Spooky. He's like, sometimes when I'm watching a movie and I realize that everyone in the movie is dead, it's spooky.
Yeah. So, she got this strip of film.
Yes.
She goes, bye-bye, Superman.
And then,
Also,
much like the house in Wizard of Oz, it blows away, and she follows it into the cornfield. And when she goes into the cornfield, who's the first person she meets?
a scarecrow.
Dorothy meets the Scarecrow. Mia Goth meets the Scarecrow.
She knocks him on the ground. She goes, I'm taking your hat.
Because, even the projectionist. Technically, she meets the Wizard of Oz
Yeah,
as the traveling salesman
yeah,
before she goes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And so she knocks it down on the ground. I don't remember how push comes
She
to
climbs up
shove.
on top of it. She's like, "Give me a kiss, you big strong man." And then they knock it over because she wants the hat.
Yeah.
But then she raw dogs it,
Yeah,
dude. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Damn, Mia Goth.
Don't know how push comes to shove, but she just be out there doing it.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a farm. It's 1918. There aren't a lot of buildings.
Yeah.
She's screaming at the top of her lung.
And her
The
mom can
whole,
hear it.
whole damn county hears her.
For sure. All of Macomb County hears it.
And then she comes back, and her mom's like, where the fuck were you? She's like, nowhere. She's like, you're wearing a top hat. And she's like, oh, I found it on the side of the
You're
road.
wearing a top hat, half the bottle of cough syrup is missing, and 8 cents.
Yeah, and she's like...
But there's only one of those things that I care about. No supper unless you tell me where 8 cents went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, leave hat outside. You could be contaminated. It's like,
Yeah.
obviously, they don't know how no germs work in 1918.
Sure.
She goes inside. Yeah, where's 8 cents? She's like, please, Mama, I don't know. And she's like,
You don't get dinner tonight.
she's like, I got some hard candy on the way.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, well then don't get dinner. She's like, but I'm starving, Mama. I rode all that way on my bike. She's like, hey, we don't have money. Look at your dad. I'm a lady running a farm. You don't do anything. Obviously, we don't got money. I got to start teaching you a lesson. This whole movie, the relationship between the two of them is set up like Carrie and her mom.
Yeah.
This whole movie, I'm like, I am on Mom's side. Mom is doing everything she can. Mom's arguably not that bad.
No.
Like when they get at the end, when they get into that big fight before she sets her on fire.
Yeah.
And Mom's yelling at her. And Mom's saying some pretty heinous shit to her. But at the same time, I'm like, given the circumstances, scary, spooky German 1918 mom who runs a farm.
Yeah.
This is she's doing a bang up job in my book.
Yeah. A right bang up job.
She is.
Anyways, so there's like, she finds out about some dance competition that's coming up, auditions for this thing,
yes,
or whatever.
because sister-in-law comes over, rich sister-in-law comes over with rich mother-in-law to drop off pig.
Yeah.
German mom says, we don't need your charity. And she's like, Jesus Christ, it's a pig. I'm going to put it on. It's just a pig. I'm
and
gonna
then
put
that
it
motherfucker rots the rest of the movie because German mom's about what she's about.
She really is, yeah. She's like, you know what, just in case they do come back, it's going to still be on the porch.
Yeah.
I'm not going to throw it into the outside trash.
Yeah, I'm not even going to feed it to the pigs, even though pigs would eat it.
They would.
They eat each other.
There's some shit where Pearl's running around on the farm and picking up alligator eggs.
Yeah, she's making jokes and she's singing to the animals and stuff.
Yeah,
she's talking about she's going to be a big star. And then eventually she sneak out at night. She fools around with Projectionist Man. They watch a porno together or whatever. Or no, I think they just watch the porno. They don't fool around. She goes out later to do the sexing, right?
Yeah, he goes, you want to see some fucking shit?
Yeah, he's like, I'm a bohemian. That means I don't really have a place I live or a job.
And she's like, oh,
in 100 years, we'll just call these people losers. No.
And I'm just immediately endeared to this man. Because as soon
he's
as
a mustache, and he's kind of fit.
As soon as I was like, oh yeah, this is the guy that just got cast as Superman, the whole time I'm like, oh, this guy's Superman. He's very charming. And I was like, I just like
John
this guy.
Mulaney's going to be in that movie.
Is he?
No, Hank's going to be in that movie. Yeah, he's going to be Mr. Elastic, I heard.
Really?
I heard John Mulaney's cast as Mr. Elastic.
That's exciting, but I think better Mr. Elastic?
John Hamm?
Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz. Oh, you talking about Lady Footlocker?
Lady Footlocker, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Actually, John Mulaney might be the perfect pick for that. But a close second would be Ben Schwartz. And so, yeah, I'm like, oh, this guy's just infinitely charming to me now. And he's saying, like, some kind of off-color shit to her. I'm like, okay. But also, you're Superman, so.
Yeah, because he says, like, he's like, I'd like to see you up there. I'd like to see you in a picture like this.
It's way smoother than that, though.
Yeah.
It's so smooth that after he says it, you go, well, wait.
Yeah, because she's like, she literally goes, and I was going to make the joke, I was like, well, I'm going to be going now. She literally goes, well, I got to leave now.
Yeah, and she's, because he says something like, she's like, I'm going to be in the movies. And he goes, yeah, you can come to Europe with me, and they're all super artsy. And she goes, you think I'd have to make one of these movies? He goes, hell, I'd watch in it. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, gotta go. And then where does she go after that?
Home, and she listens to her mom crying.
Oh, right, yeah, mom's crying.
Then the big fight happens,
I feel bad for mom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
after
the next
day or something, yeah.
She gets the crocodile leg?
Yeah,
alligator?
Something like that.
Do they lay eggs?
I don't know, dude.
Anyway, she gets it and then just explodes it in her hand while also thinking about her boyfriend walking home like she always does, and he explodes during that.
She killed a goose earlier.
Oh, yeah, she just stabbed her with a picture. She's just very slowly killing stuff.
Yeah.
And she has that vision of her boyfriend exploding. That got me. That happened. I went, whoa!
Yeah.
And then she's got a real will they, won't they with this cow. They're real tense the entire time. Not like a sexual thing, but will they, won't they be enemies? All the time. She's like, stop fucking looking at me, cow.
Yeah.
And that cow is like the dog from The Thing level's a good actor.
Yeah.
She goes, don't look at me, and it just turns its head. I'm like, that's great. And then, yeah, do they immediately have this fight?
It's basically, I mean, she says, like, there's a dance, mama, and I'm only young once because the projectionist just told me that, and if I don't find out that I got what it takes right now, that I'll just die a life of regret, and I gotta know now because I'm only young once, so if you just let me do this one thing, I swear to God, if I don't make it, I'll come and I'll live on this fucking farm forever. I don't give a fuck. I just gotta know, and her mom's like, you want to talk to me about regret? And,
yeah. She's like, and when you fail... and you will fail.
Yeah.
And she's like, you're so mean to me, mama. And she's like, yeah, maybe, but I'm a German realist, all right? And then they have a tussle, and mom's big, comedically old-timey dress catches fire.
Yeah, which I'm told happened often when women used to wear big, 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 fluffy dresses with lots of layers, and then were expected to work around open flame fires.
And
then the bloomer came along. But anyways.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
She's on fire, falls to the ground, and she throws boiling hot water on her.
Yeah. Insult to injury.
Would suck.
Yes.
And then Mom's skin is gone.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Mom was on fire for maybe 2 seconds.
Sure.
Mom would have been fine, I think.
Mom would have been fine. That wasn't enough burning up.
Yeah. When do you think stop, drop, and roll was invented?
You want to bet on this?
Sure.
All right, I'm putting $1. I'm going to put $1 on 1948.
I'm putting $1 down. Closest without going over?
Sure.
1975.
Okay, let's look it up. Stop, drop, and roll. Fire safety, procedure. Let's try how old is stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll dates back to at least... What year did you say?
I said 1975.
Yeah, okay. Well, I have two different things here.
Okay.
The first one says the origins of stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll dates back to at least America Burning 1, published by the National Commission on Fire Prevention and Control in 1973. But this, I know that's so annoying. I don't need $1 for that one. But this one also says stop, drop, and roll messaging originated from a rash of fires involving flammable clothing in the 1950s. So it evolved from something that happened in the 50s, meaning that it could have happened in the 1970s. That it was actually like... So I'm going to take 1973 as the year that mostly originated from. But I consider you most closely. I'm going to make it just just call it a draw.
Yeah, but I said
speaking.
Closest without going over.
You did, but you were so
Price is
fucking
Right
close.
rolls.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned,
You
though,
got
like
it.
logically, you won.
Yeah, but my dumbass said closest without going over. So you got change for a 5.
I don't have change for a 5.
I have $1 somewhere. I'll
Okay.
get you that $1.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always so tough. If you ever see like an Instagram reel or a TikTok or something where somebody catches on fire,
Yeah.
it's always so tough because it's always like, dude, stop, drop, and
and
roll.
roll.
But nobody does because
Yeah.
you're not
You're on
thinking.
fucking fire.
Yeah, you're thinking with on fire brain. You're not
Yeah.
thinking with stop, drop, and roll brain.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's tough. So mom doesn't do that.
No.
Mom's on the ground going, "Ugh," and she
Yeah.
goes sick. In Kenny Omega's basement, you go. She
Yeah.
throws her to the basement.
And she like runs away that night, right? And then you go, fuck. Yeah. She runs
Yeah.
away that night and she goes and fucks the projectionist.
She drags mom downstairs, and it sucks because mom hits her head on every single
It's okay.
stair.
Mom's not there anymore.
I think mom is there
Oh, okay.
because mom crawls around the
Right.
basement.
Yeah. Because they show the bottom, the fingers and the.
And he
yeah.
and he hears
The
her.
banging.
Yeah. So she goes and she does the banging.
She does.
with
She gets that
projectionist.
nut.
She really does. She bangs Superman,
Her second nut of the movie.
and she gets up at 6. She's like, I gotta dance. I gotta go practice my dance because today's church dance.
Yeah.
And
He's
he goes,
like, why don't I give you a ride?
I'll give you a ride.
Automobile.
And she's like, all right, fine. And then they pass a soldier. And he's like, that's someone you know? And she's like, no. And I'm like, is that husband? But it can't be because husband shows up a day later.
No. It's just a little visual reminder, I think.
And so they pull up to her house. And she's like, hold on a second. Let me go clean up. And she cleans up evidence of a murder and puts dad in a suit or something
takes
like
him
that.
out of the bib because he's just she just left him overnight.
Oh, yeah, that's
So fucked up.
Some of the scariest parts of this movie are imagining what it's like to be dad.
For sure, because
Because-
you just watched your daughter kill your wife, and then she just left you at the kitchen table overnight.
Yeah.
in
And
that
you're like,
big
yeah.
spooky house alone. Because I'm already afraid of the dark, rapists, ghosts, big scary houses where ghosts and rapists could easily get in because you don't have any neighbors and no one would know
Yeah.
that you're in trouble. And it would take, in that time, I mean, the police coming, police probably don't even exist.
Days. It takes days.
Yeah.
And also, on top of all that, you can't move.
Exactly, yeah.
And so, like, just the thought of that being scary and then being like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to die here. And then daughter comes back in and that being scarier. Yeah, that sucks. Or we totally skip the part where she's about to push dad into the lake.
Yeah, but mom stops it.
Yes. So she cleans up evidence of murder, goes, this is my dad. And he goes, okay.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you, sir. She goes, let's go up and fuck. And I'm
Yeah.
like, don't you have a dance to practice for?
Yeah.
And they're banging, and he hears banging downstairs. He's like, what's that? She goes, oh, it's nothing. Smooch, smooch, smooch. And he goes, no, seriously, what is that? She goes, it's nothing. He goes, what is wrong with you? It could be your dad. She goes,
Yeah.
it's not. And they
It's a
smooch
dog.
more.
We put a dog in the basement. 'Cause
Yeah.
He was going crazy. He ate the dinner or something.
Yeah, and he goes, I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah.
And he walks around the house. I don't remember how she gets him back outside.
By saying it's the dog or whatever. She says that to him like later. She doesn't say it to him
okay.
when they're in bed or whatever.
Gotcha.
Then they go outside. She has to like feed the animals, or she wants to show him the animals or something.
Yeah, he sees rotting pig.
Yeah.
They go out there, and what is it? I don't know what it is that she says, but he's like, all right, I'm going to go.
Oh, because she says something like, this is my cow, and his name is Charlie, and this is my chicken, and her name is Ezra, or whatever. And then she's like, all my animals are named after my, favorite movie actors. And she's like, what about your dog? What's your dog's name? And she's like, we ain't got no dog.
Because Pearl, while also being crazy,
is dumb.
The dumbest person on earth.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, okay. Oof. I do have to get going to open up the theater.
Sure.
Because I did, if you remember,
I have a job.
Did say I will drive you home, not I'll come over fucking hang out for a minute.
Yeah.
And she's like,
why'd you go cold on me?
and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. She goes, oh, I know these things. What'd you see?
Yeah.
And which is so scary.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
he didn't see anything.
No.
So he doesn't even have an answer for her. And her just being like, what'd you see? You're not taking me to Europe. And she's yelling at him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, no, you got to dance to practice for,
And
don't
he's
you?
like, eventually he's just like, you're scaring me. I'm leaving.
Yeah. And which
good
I think
luck
is
in all your future endeavors.
pretty appropriate response.
Yeah.
And he gets in his car and she's like, you suck. And she stabs him with a pitchfork.
She does, yeah.
And he goes, "Bah, bah," and spits up a bunch of blood while driving away.
Yeah, good shot.
And then the car slows down.
Yeah, she
And
pushes
she's like-
it into a swamp.
She goes, ah, and she yells at him.
And Abigail the alligator eats him up, mate?
She takes him out of he comes out of the car for some reason. And I don't remember why. And she goes and does something else. And then when she pushes the car back into the lake, he's in the driver's seat, which I just think is funny. The idea of her picking him up and putting him back in the driver's seat instead of just throwing him in the car. So she do that, and she goes, ooh, I got a dance I got to get ready for. So she puts on a dress, goes to Daddy, and goes, Dad, listen, your time's come. This ain't no way to live. And Dad doesn't say anything because he can't. I think she takes a bath in front of him again first.
Just for shits and gigs.
Puts him in a
her own
suit.
enjoyment.
And then goes, you know what, Dad? I'm going to kill you. This camera's going to focus in on this bird losing its mind, but while everyone's going to know I'm killing you right
Yeah, I'm putting a pillow to your face.
she
It's
does
classic stuff. It's very tasteful.
Yeah, and then she puts on this just kick-ass bright red dress, which is so sick.
Yeah.
And then she goes, packing up my things, off to church. She goes to the church, and her sister-in-law's like, why you got all your things? And she goes, well, when I go to the whatever. She's like, wow, you're really confident.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. And she's like, well, I hope it's one of us. And she goes, oh, it's got to be me. She's like, ooh, I didn't think you meant to say that out loud. So it's either you or me. If it's not me, then you, right? And she goes, no, it's got to be me. And they wait in line, yada, yada, yada. She ends up going in. She does this big dance.
Great. The soldiers come out. World War One. It's Beau is Afraid type, over the top.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm done with this trope. This and Beau is Afraid, and I loved it in Shape of Water.
Yeah.
But if your movie that's not a movie becomes a musical for a second to show me what your character's feeling on the inside, figure something else out. I'm done with it.
And then she finishes up, and they're like, thank you. Oh. And she's like,
I just dance better than I ever danced in my life.
which is a very funny line.
And they're like, yeah, but we're looking for someone younger and blonde. And she's like, well, one, I'm 13.
Yeah.
And two, you could have told me that while I was outside.
Yeah.
You let me come in here and dance knowing I'm not blonde.
Yeah, for sure. Big dick move. And then she freaks out. She's like, I'm a fucking star.
And all the judges turn into her mom, her dad, dead boyfriend.
Yeah. Gruesome and good. I like it.
Boyfriend. Yeah, it's great.
Only critique of the whole movie is that when they're dragging her off, they didn't do the big Bo Peep hook.
Which would have been
Fantastic.
fantastic.
Yeah, that would have pushed this into A+ territory.
Would have pushed into S for me, for sure.
Yeah.
And then so she leaves, and she's crying like nobody on earth has ever cried before. She's just hooting and hollering.
Crying harder than I've ever cried during a breakup.
Yeah, just hooting and hollering. Sister-in-law comes by. She goes, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "I didn't get it." And she's like, "Well, yeah, obviously."
Yeah. Why don't we go back to your house and have a glass of milk?
She's like, "Let me take you home, and a nice glass of milk will calm me right down."
Yeah. And then the PA's de resistance.
She goes, "What's wrong with you?" And she goes, blah, 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 blah.
Just this 5-minute long fucking...
Yeah, she goes, "Pretend I'm Ernest or Howard."
Yeah, Howard, yeah. And Mia Goth's like, "Here's my acting abilities on a silver platter.
And I looked it up. This scene is... Her monologue is 7 minutes. 7 minutes long. It cuts a couple times and then stays on one shot for 5 minutes.
Wow.
And she talks for 5 minutes straight.
It's really impressive, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I was telling Will Lorenz...
I was hypnotized by this.
Yeah. I was telling Will Lorenz, I said, "Hey, can I tell you this in confidence?"
Pause for a second. 7 minutes of dialogue is rough, too. That's a rugged...
Yeah.
That's a thick bitch.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, it's like in Halloween Kills, my favorite movie, when Anthony Michael Hall is giving that speech at the bar. If you notice, they cut 400 times during that, and that scene loses all weight and tension because, for sure, that man ain't learning all those lines, and they're just cutting between a bunch of different takes. So this is so incredibly
Here's
impressive.
an olive ideal. Hold up a big sign with the words on it for him, then.
Here's a big idea. Cast someone else. He kind of sucks in that movie, and he could be played by Paul Runnigan if you wanted to.
Sure, yeah.
I said to Will Lorenz in confidence, I don't think I'm that big of a fan of Mia Goth, if I'm being honest.
Sure.
And the more I'm thinking about it, and especially this scene, just blew me away because she goes on a journey in these 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I love that she keeps calling her Howard.
Yeah.
Just over and over and over again. And she's like, "Well, I do really got to get going." And I'm like, "You idiot. Yeah. You've been saying to her all movie long, stepsister's got to stick, or sister-in-law's got to stick together." And when she's like, "Well, here's how you get out of it." Oh, what was her old-timey name?
Mitzi.
Mitzi, here's how you get out of it. You go, "Well, that all sounds great. You should for sure tell that to Howard. I think he'd really, really hang on to that and really help you with that. And I'm glad you opened up to me about it, but for sure your husband would be glad to hear about all that, even though you did, you did miscarriage his baby and feel good about it.
Yeah.
And cheat on him, maybe I'd leave that stuff out. But if it's really eating you up, I'm sure he'd understand. I'm going to get out of here." And then when she goes, "You're going to keep that a secret, right?" You go, "Yeah. Sister-in-law's got to stick together.
Yeah.
I'll see you around, Mia." Yeah. Or Pearl.
Yeah.
And then I think you get away with it. But instead she's like, "I gotta go."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Are you gonna tell anyone?" She's like, "No, I gotta go."
But yeah, there's going to be for sure stuff that I forget. Maybe you'll remember. But the 7-minute epic is just her being like, "I've been so lonesome on this farm. And you went off to war. And I hate you for it because I get so lonesome. And sometimes, I just hate you so much about it. And then, I fucked another guy or whatever. And that's awful. But I'm never going to do it again because I thought that's what I wanted. But then I had it. And no, it's not what I wanted. And anyways, then I also killed Mama. And I also killed Papa. And I also killed this boyfriend that I had or whatever. And also, that stuff."
I had the baby.
Yeah, the baby. She was like, "I got pregnant, and I was actually happy that it died because she calls it a sickness." She's like, "I can feel it growing inside of me," and that was just I didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she talks about she wanted to get off this farm and live like an ideal life. And then I met you.
Yeah.
And you introduced me to your family.
Yeah.
It was
and
the
you
life
had
I
everything I didn't have.
You had everything I
but
didn't
all
have.
you wanted to be was on the farm, and I hated you for that too.
And then you didn't have to.
Yeah.
But you signed up for the war.
Yeah.
And you sent me back here.
Yeah, and you left.
I hate you for it.
Yeah, and I hate you for it. But now, if you could just come home, I can make this farm a home for you. I swear, Howard, if you just come home, I could do that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole time she cries and yeah. Good.
She's going through it. And then I do love the shot of her when they cut away from that and she's still sitting at the table. She's like, "You're not going to tell anyone, right?" And Mitzi's like, "No, of course not. I got to go. Of course not." And obviously she's not, but you do kind of get the vibe from Pearl that "Oh, okay, I believe you, and I'm going to hang out here." And then so Mitzi leaves and she's walking out, and then you just very slowly you see Pearl come out, and it's like, "Uh-oh," and then Mitzi starts walking faster, and it's one big long far away shot.
Yeah.
And it's moving with it at the same time, so it's got a lot of energy to it.
Yeah.
That,
it's a good shot. It's a really good shot. There's some really good shots in this one. And I really like a lot.
She just chases after her and she hits her in the back a bunch of times.
Yeah. And then she's in the back, she's like, "I won't tell nobody." And it's like, oh my God, Mitzi, you're done.
You're already done, Mitz. And
then she cleans up.
And love this.
Yeah.
It is like two things are happening simultaneously in the shot, and they just split it down the middle with like no divider. It just kind of like looks mirrored.
Yeah.
And then every now and then it'll be the same shot just mirrored, and it looks so good.
Yeah,
it's
this whole
so
thing was
cool.
great. Yeah.
But also it's like the most violent thing this movie or the last movie has, especially
people getting chopped
when
up.
she's cutting those people up. I'm like, I don't know how they're doing this.
Yeah.
Like practically.
Because it looks great.
Because you go, no, Chris, I love that. We talk about this all the time. I don't know if this is CGI or not. And just like in Indiana Jones, I'm watching this going, God damn, how are they doing this?
Yeah.
Movie magic, I love it.
Yeah. And then Howard comes home.
She puts mom and dad at the table for some reason.
Oh, right. And the big rotten pig in the middle.
Yeah. And then Howard comes home, and it seems to have been months later, but mom and dad are still at the table.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And she goes, Howard, you're home. I love you. And then the music plays, and it's just her smiling over the credits for another 7 minutes.
Which is really great because, she does it for a long time. And then, like, halfway through, she starts big, beady tear crying.
Yeah, but still with the smile on her face.
Still with the smile on her face. And, it's a really tasteful to not like, just do a Bugs Bunny thing and then, like, have the credits happen, but to instead, like, okay, Mia, you're going to do this for 5 minutes because we're going to let the bulk of the credits roll out on this shot. So, go.
And then very slowly does the Bugs Bunny iris fade. Yeah. Which I love. I forgot to mention it, but I love when she kills her parents and then goes to fuck Superman.
Oh, you're right. She goes, that's all, folks.
They kiss and it does the zoop real fast, like it's a fun romantic scene. It was like, oh yeah, we know she just killed her parents.
Yeah.
And so yes, so for it to do it very, very slowly at the end, I liked quite a bit.
Yeah.
Just like X. Talking about this, I had way more fun with it. I like it even more after we had this conversation.
Yeah, I'm really struggling in this moment, like, because I was like, immediately I was like, okay, I'm giving this a solid A. But now I'm sitting here like, do I give it an A plus? Because there's some like really stunningly original and interesting things in this movie.
Yeah,
there really are.
And it's tense and it's scary and it's daytime. Pretty
and it's
much
fun.
The whole thing.
It has a vibe unlike anything else. Like because the closest thing I can think of is like American Psycho, where it's like this funny.
Yeah.
Murder movie where you follow the murderer and you kind of like her, but you also don't.
Yeah.
And it's funny in a dark way, and it's like colorful in a way, like because American Psycho, whatever, it's not like the most grim, gritty thing. It just kind of looks like any movie until he suddenly starts murdering somebody, and then you're like, oh, you're right, yeah, that's right, I forgot I was watching that movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I gotta give it I think I'm gonna give it a solid A. I'm gonna play it safe, but I would say that this is a contender for it to just grow on me more and more. I think because I do like this movie a lot.
I'm gonna give it a B plus.
Okay.
I like it quite a bit. Yeah.
Is that the same thing you gave X?
I gave X a B.
Oh, okay, B. What did I give X?
B plus.
B plus.
So we both just went up from X.
Yeah. Well, I hopped up. Also A minus. I jumped a couple.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I don't know how grades work.
It's okay.
So hopefully, same trajectory for Maxine.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking about? You were just saying it.
Yeah.
With the American Psycho thing, I don't know what I was watching, but I watched some like video essay about American Psycho, and they just showed a bunch of like interviews with Chris Nolan and Mary, the director of.
I just told you at the top of this thing. I don't know names.
Okay. Well, the woman who directed American Psycho, and also the writer of the book. Who I think
Bret Easton Ellis.
Who actually I think is a huge piece of shit. Actually,
that tracks probably.
He's super misogynistic.
That probably tracks.
And not because he wrote American Psycho, but for other reasons. All just like in 1,000 interviews, going, "This movie's supposed to be funny. This movie's supposed to be funny. This movie's supposed to be funny." I think the whole video is about how nobody gets the joke. Nobody got the joke of American Psycho when it came out, even with all these interviews of all of them going, no, this is supposed to be really funny.
Yeah. It just reminds me of I think it's American Psycho. I just remember being in Austin, Texas, and like listening to these two like younger type attractive people talking to each other. And this girl was talking about American Psycho, whatever, and like the guy tried to do that like thing where he was like, he's like, it's just like the thing that nobody gets about the movie is that like you're not supposed to like him. He's the bad guy. And just like, I don't care if you're talking about Nightcrawler, I don't care if you're talking about Breaking Bad, I don't care if you're talking about American Psycho. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, if your main character is the bad guy, hey, guess what? Everybody gets it.
Yeah, and also, he has to be likable enough to work as a main character.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, we all like these characters. We like them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not supposed to like them. You're actually supposed to like them. That's the whole point of them being the main character. Because if you didn't like them, then you wouldn't watch the movie.
Yeah. And I think it's unfortunate because I think maybe you had the similar circumstances as me. The first time I saw American Psycho, and people had told me about, like, oh yeah, he's just like a psycho. Christian Bale's like a psychotic guy that kills people, and he's like kind of really scary because you've never seen Christian Bale like that. It's just, kind of a scary, unsettling movie. And I watched it, and like the whole time I'm like, okay, I guess this is supposed to make me feel uneasy, and all the like how obsessive they are over these business cards that all kind of look the same to me. Is like, that's supposed to be creepy that he's like obsessed with it on this level. And now when I watch it, I think about that scene and all the cards look exactly the same. That's so fucking funny.
Yeah,
that is
funny.
so funny. That card after card after card, they just look exactly the same. It's very funny.
It's very funny. I was literally thinking about it even before we brought up American Psycho wholeheartedly. Just, I think we mentioned at the top maybe, but just one of my favorite fucking lines in any movie ever is when he's yelling at fucking Jared Leto's dead body. He's like, try getting a reservation at Dorsia now, you stupid fucking bastard.
Yeah, and like just him putting on the raincoat's funny.
So
and him
funny.
going, like, Huey Lewis, and just that point. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's not the movie we watched.
It is! So you're like a chow or something? Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing is
newspaper. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
Willem Dafoe knocks it out of the
Dafoe,
park.
yep.
We're not talking about that movie.
So anyways, that's episode 86 on the books.
What are we watching
What are we watching next? We're, all transparency, recording this, I think we mentioned it last episode, in all kinds of fucked up manner. Kind of 3 back-to-back in 1 week, so we're kind of building out, and in a sense, kind of, I guess, loosely taking a little bit of a time off, but I don't want to be too lax. We should get to watching and maybe keep a little bit of headroom on our...
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So anyways, but what should we watch? What's on the tip of your tongue?
Well, you know what was on the tip of my brain?
Yeah.
After watching, not X and Pearl, but the other movies we watched this week.
You've got Mail and Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
I'm Forrest Gump.
I was thinking about You Got Mail being a bad rom-com.
Sure.
And how I like a good rom-com.
Sure.
My pitch right now? Want to do Crazy Stupid Love?
Okay.
Because I know you love that movie.
Yes.
And you showed it to me, and I was like, oh, I love this movie.
Yes. Crazy Stupid Love, and what should I pick? What am I in the mood for? You might have to edit this for a second, because there have been like so many different things that have come to my mind recently. Like, one of them is like, I really want to watch that Mickey and Nikki or whatever, that like John Cassavetes and... But...
Or maybe this will help you pair something with. I've seen a lot of people talking about it lately, and I'd like to rewatch 12 Angry Men.
Never seen it.
12 Angry Men's great.
Okay.
That's going to be my pick. It's 12 Angry Men.
Okay, 12 Angry Men.
Well, unless you find something great to pair with Crazy Stupid Love. Well, I'm going to look it up because no, my like 12 Angry Men's 4 hours long.
Yeah. How about this pitch? Because at first I was hesitant because I was saying I thought that you had something you wanted to pair it with that I had. But no, that was Fight Club I was thinking of. So cut everything we've said to this point. Your pick is Crazy Stupid Love.
Mm-hmm.
Mine? It's Drive, baby.
Really?
Yeah.
Another
Haven't seen it in forever. Friend of the show, Chloe, just watched it for the first time. And she was like, yeah, this blew my shit out. This is like an extended... Oh, I should mention that on tour. I was like, when I was 11, when I was like 12 or whatever, I saw Drive. It blew my shit out. And everybody in the van was like, oh my God, dude, you got to stop saying shit like that. Like, it was a total Tobias moment.
Yeah, dude, real quick, you and I have to have a talk.
Yeah.
You have to. I heard you on the phone with your sister the other day say that you were down bad.
Yeah.
And that means horny. Chris, I know that it didn't used to mean horny.
Yeah.
But it means horny now. And so you have to stop saying it.
Nah, don't Clerks 2 me right now.
I haven't seen Clerks 2.
Oh, well, okay, so the big thing is that Randall is like, my grandma used to call me a porch monkey, and I don't think that's a racial slur, so I'm taking it back. And everybody keeps saying, stop. don't do this.
Well, then, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing to you. Stop. Don't do this.
But anyways, yeah, so anyway, she watched it and she was like, yeah, this is an extended fucking Daft Punk music video. This rocks.
Yeah,
It's
blow your
great.
shit up.
So,
do you want to do a
blow your
Rye
shit
Guy triple feature?
no, I don't want to do 2 movies. Sorry.
I want to watch Larson the Real Girl or La La
We can
Land.
do it another time.
Or we could do The Nice Guys again.
I do want to watch Only God Forgives and Neon Demon, though, to talk about Mr. Right Guy's best friend in the whole world. I don't know if they're friends in real life like that. I know that they're friends to some degree, but...
Nicholas Refn Winding?
Yeah, but those are 2 things.
Is it Refn Winding or Winding Refn?
I never know. I feel like every time I hear his name, someone says it differently.
Yeah, it's because I can never say it right, and I'm always talking about that guy.
Yeah. So anyways, that is that. That's that, Mattress Man, right? That's that.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right, that's that, Mattress Man.
If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,